Hi, everybody. Kathy. Welcome, everyone, to the Reflections on the 12 Steps. Just a friendly announcement. This is not an AA meeting. This is just one member's view of the exact nature of the wrongs as described on page 64 of the Big Book and the solutions contained within. This is not an all-share meeting, though shares there will be, but actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. And I picked a reading from We Agnostics.
Yep.
I was going to start at the last line on page 47. It says, besides a seeming inability to accept much on faith, we often found ourselves handicapped by obstinacy, sensitiveness, and unreasoning prejudice. Many of us have been so touchy that even casual reference to spiritual things made us bristle with antagonism. This sort of thinking had to be abandoned. Though some of us resisted, we found no great difficulty in casting aside such feelings. Faced with alcoholic destruction, we soon became as open-minded on spiritual matters as we had tried to be on other questions. In this respect, alcohol was a great persuader. It finally beat us into a state of reasonableness. Sometimes this was a tedious process. We hope no one else will be prejudiced for as long as some of us were. And then I thought I'd stop there.
Well, great, Betsy. Thank you. Yeah, We Agnostics is like a well of wisdom. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, welcome everyone. Nice to see you. So, besides a seeming inability to accept much on faith, one of the definitions of seeming is it appears to be true or false to you. It's very important in the world of perception to understand the definition of seeming. Yeah. Because a subjective experience overrides the experience itself. So, yeah, that's why 30 people can go to the same event and have a different experience, because the event doesn't lay its experience on you. You have an experience of the event. Yes. So basically, you and I, as it says in another book, The Course in Miracles, you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Wow. So this is a definition of a subjective experience. Yes. It's good to be clear of these little things because there are activities that go on without us knowing it, a lot of activities. Yeah. And some of them aren't beneficial to us. And I don't think those activities are just phenomena. I think they're manufactured, the blocking off of recognition. And I think here is perfectly a statement of that. Besides a seemingly inability to accept much on faith, the head is producing that. Yes? And really, it has faith that there's not much faith. When someone is a non-believer, there's faith in being a non-believer. Yeah. You can't get before faith. We're moved by faith. Yes. And in this world of being moved by faith, you can seemingly be moved by two directions, which is finite self or the infinite. That's AA boils it down to those two options. Yes. But you are going to be moved or directed. Just like it says a new employer in the book obviously implies there was an old employer, or it would have just said an employer. Yeah. But this is a new variety of them being employed, but the employment is a constant. So you're being used all the time, not by other people, though it may look like that. You're being moved. Yeah. Like when you're hungry, you're moved to get something to eat. Yes. You desire something and you're moved. Yeah. You have a date and it's not on Zoom, so you move to buy some pants and get yeah. So your lower half looks as good as your upper half. You come out of the Zoom world and you actually meet somebody. So you're being moved, yes? You're being moved to change a channel. You put a channel of TV on, you don't like what's on there. So you move to change the channel. Yeah? You have predilections that you didn't produce. They were passed on to you by your family members. How many people swore? How many times have you heard in a meeting, I swore I was never going to be like my mother, and then they become exactly like the mother? We're just, we're just, we're acting as if we have power when we're quite a lot at times powerless. Yeah. It's good to know, literally, I feel. So here, besides a seeming inability to accept much on faith, so we can accept a lot on faith. It doesn't say it's in an inability. It appears to us it's an inability. It can appear to us that it's an ability. It can go either way, yeah? Which is what's directing you is going to determine how you see it. If you're looking from the parasite, it's going to really, really harp on your inability to accept much on faith because you've accepted it on faith already. It doesn't want you to wander because it needs us. Yeah. A parasite needs a host. That's part of the nature of a parasite. Yeah. Does the host need the parasite? Not always, mostly not. Some situations it's symbiotic, but usually no. Yeah. Most situations are the parasite. If the parasite's going to win, the host loses. So, besides a seemingly inability to accept much on faith, they talk about seemingly in the first forward, right, or the second, where it says, we're 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. I bet you it would be interesting to see how many places they use seemingly. Because remember, this is what they call a disease of perception also. You're perceiving things as a threat, which they aren't, yeah, a lot of the time. So it's a mental, the activity of our defeat is in the mental realm. Yeah. So it's telling us we're seeing things that we're actually not seeing. Yeah. That person we think is planning our demise hasn't thought of you since like 2012. Yeah. There's not a vast conspiracy usually to wreck Michael Stacy's life, other than that which is talking about the vast conspiracy. Yeah. All right. So besides a seeming inability to accept much on faith, we often found ourselves handicapped by obstinacy, sensitiveness. Now, this is funny because a lot of people believe they're sensitive, but they're not sensitive about others. They're extremely touchy, but they don't give a shit what else happens to someone else. That's insane, eh? Yeah. So I would say it would be better, touchy would have been a better word, because sensitivity sounds like you have maybe a bit of empathy, and you're sensitive to other people's suffering, and yeah. But no, that's not usually the case, is it? No. So we often find ourselves again, see, we're not doing it, yeah? We often find ourselves. Yeah. When someone finds themselves somewhere, they don't have a memory that they drove there. Yes. It's like something transported them, and then they observe something and they go, I found myself at the bar. Yeah. With a drink in front of me. It's that surprising, but it's an incredible description. Yeah. You were driven and you were out to lunch, and then by the time you wake up, you're at the bar ordering a whiskey or whatever. Yeah. So I love when they use this, because they use this feeling a lot in the book. Like you're placed in a position of neutrality with no effort on your part. Yeah, without knowing it, all this shit happens. Yes, you're harboring fear and entertaining resentment. It's not. Yeah, it's like the way it describes it isn't how our head thinks. Yeah. So we often found ourselves handicapped by obstinacy. So, and know how it really handicaps you when you call the obstinacy yours. Don't you see it? The bondage of self is really owning the self's reaction to life as our reaction to life. The bondage of self is owning self's reaction to life as our reaction to life. So it's not, you don't you recognize obstinacy, but you mistake it as yours. Yeah. So you have the ability to see, but what gets translated into seeing is off. Yeah. So the self describes its condition, and we immediately assume it's our condition. This is the bondage of self, yes? It's sort of like you met somebody and they have different, that's what you want to call defects of character than yours, and yet you adopt theirs because you think it's you, yes? So they have described and captured in real life photos of our own memory self defeating us. Yeah. They have. And they describe how it defeats us. And when we hear the description, we think it's our description. The message isn't to make you more of you, it's to lose interest in that self. Yes? This is why self knowledge avails us nothing. You get a lot of knowledge, but instead of knowledge of self, it's self knowledge. Self claims it and neuters it. So knowledge of self is very valuable. Self-knowledge doesn't seem to be that valuable. It's knowledge, but how it's used, yes? Like the message, look at life on a large scale. There have been beautiful messages passed down in life, and then groups formalize around it, and they create some of the most havoc in history. Yeah. But it was spawned out of an incredible view, and then the view gets distorted by the people who entertain it. Yeah. So when your head says my resentment, it's telling the truth, but you're not that head. Yes? The head's telling the truth. My fear, my resentment, my acting out. We act like its description of it is our description. That's insane. Yes? The bondage wasn't an event like in 1973, and then they forged a special handcuff for you. No, it's an activity going on all day. Yeah, subtly or crudely. Yeah. The head talks about how it sees life, and you assume it's how you see life. And there's only so much you can rehab of self. Yeah. Self is a program, it's not AI. Yeah. And it has primary parts of the program that are not going to change, which is one of them is self can't get out of self. Yeah. The program does not get that. The program believes it can escape what it is as what it is. Yeah. All the talking about it's like you're blue in your face. Yeah. It's not going to go anywhere. Why not move on? Yes. The best thing to know is that thing called self has
What
failed.
did you ask?
Yes. Self-reliance has failed us. Why are we in so much fear today? Self-reliance has failed us. That's all the knowledge you need, literally. Yeah. Is to see that which you were relying on as failed. Not you failing, but it's failing. Yes? Not your failing, it's failing. What you separate relied on, yeah, and the reliance on what you relied on is what's failed. You can be a huge success in a second after that. Yeah. Yeah. So I humbly believe you can get it, that it's a foreign, the nature of what has defeated us is foreign to us. And if that, and I believe it's easy in a way. Yeah. And you just may need to rehear it because it's going to open a door that seems to be locked, which is I can be free from it. Yeah. You cannot be free as self from self. It cannot happen. Yeah. They, it was such a strong recognition in early sobriety that it got into the lexicon of our community, and it doesn't come from the big book. Self can't get out of self. It was an incredible, it was like the second step. You came to believe. It was another observational event. They realized self can't get out of self because they were doing just that. Yeah. They weren't, but they were living as they were doing just that. Yes. Yes. So, all right, let me finish this. So, often found ourselves handicapped by obstinacy. Yes, so you got defined by something else. You were defined by the obstinacy because you called it yours. Yes? Handicapped by obstinacy, sensitiveness, and unreasoning prejudice. Yeah. Like when people go to AA and they leave and now they think they know what AA is. They went for 5 minutes. They know they enough to know that now, even if they're in their worst condition, the greatest solution to that will be overlooked. Yeah. Oh, I know that it doesn't work. That's not you talking. That's not you seeing. That's the head talking. Yeah. And using your seeing to defeat you, literally. Handicapped by obstinacy, sensitiveness, and unreasoning prejudice. Many of us have been so touchy, they do use the word. Most of us have been so touchy that even casual reference to spiritual things made us bristle with antagonism. I believe that was the parasite's reaction to the message. Yes? I think it's a perfect description of the parasite's reaction when you heard this message, these messages. Yes? Give me a better explanation for it. Come on, give me a better one than that. That strong reaction wasn't yours. Many of us have been so touchy that even casual reference to spiritual things when we need a spiritual solution. Isn't that funny? We're very touchy about spiritual things because the nature of the problem is mental. Wow. And that the spiritual condition is actually the solution to the mental condition. And why? That's so weird that the mental condition is resisting as much as it can any spiritual mentioning. Yes? That seems so weird. No, it doesn't. It's like out of the parasite defense manual. Yeah, convince the host that the solution it needs is the most hated idea of all. We'll use it to defend to defend the parasite. Yes. Oh, that's insane, eh? All right, many of us have been so touchy that even casual reference, I ran into this sharing this message, I'm telling you, in recovery for like 34 years. I've run into it more. I am greeted with people like this, sitting there, leaning as far back as they can in the chair, as if they get distance from the message, it won't land. I mean, seriously. Many of us have been so touchy that even casual reference to spiritual things made us bristle with antagonism. Didn't that guy Herbert Spencer say, hey, contempt prior to investigation? Be careful with that. Because the contempt prior to an investigation is the parasite's ace in the deck. Yeah. It tells you you already know it, and then that doesn't work. Yes, unbelievable. The honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness nowhere to be found. That's why a lot of times a meeting, that's the topic because no one's in it. No one's in how, so they want to make it the topic. Just like no one's in acceptance, so acceptance is probably the most used topic in all the meetings I've ever been to. Because when you're in acceptance, you don't think about acceptance. You do not. It's only when you're not in acceptance, seemingly, you think about acceptance. So this sort of thinking had to be abandoned. Jesus Christ. You may not be able to abandon and control the thoughts, but you can see them as not yours. You can, because this happened with me. Yeah. The thoughts that I was, you're like a chevy, you're like a creek, yeah? And when there's rain, the water comes down, yeah? Now you think you're to be the creek, you're dry, and it seems like, what the fuck? Why is this water destroying my creekness? But basically, your whole way you're built is to carry water. Yes, yes, yes. So this sort of thinking had to be abandoned. I would say question the my that's before the thoughts. Yeah. Because you don't seem to be that affected by other people's thoughts unless they're close to you, do you? But you're incredibly affected by your thoughts. So maybe it's not the thoughts, maybe it's the owning of the thoughts. I don't know. Look at my. My is a very compact little word, only 2 letters, yeah? But it will change anything that comes after it, won't it? So put money. Money, I want everyone to have a lot of money. My money, I don't want anyone to have my money. The money, no letter was changed. The spelling wasn't changed. The font wasn't changed. But the meaning was changed by my. What do you think's going on? The parasite's using you to give meaning to things through the word my. Yeah. Problem? No, my problem. What are plans and designs? Usually little. What are your plans and designs? Big. I mean, how to, I mean, it's obvious. If you just sit still a second and watch, yeah. Why is it that maybe your head, if you're feeling great, it gets suspicious about how long it's going to last or that you don't deserve it? But when you feel a little weird, it says you're entering a lifelong depression. I mean, it seems like uh, there's a bias in the narration of the life. Yeah. Let's shorten anything that's pretty cool and elongate the possibility of something not good. You really want that to be the conductor of the orchestra? No, I hope not. Perhaps there is a better way. Trusting infinite. All right, faced with alcoholic destruction. That's what it takes for some of us. Seriously. I mean, that's how strongly held we are by the parasite. We have to go into the chambers of, incomprehensible, pitiful demoralization or spiritless servility. And still many of us don't get it. Yes? I mean, sometimes it has to get so fucking nasty. And even that doesn't do it unless you're touched with grace. And I don't believe grace is I think grace is readily available. Yeah, it's just a little bit of you. Like if all the pores of your skin are shut, you're not soaking in any of the water. So to me, if you're in the cocoon of self-obsession, you don't even notice that the grace abounds. Yes. Yes, because that thing is playing God on your ass. Yeah. All right. Sometimes, oh yeah, faced with though some of us resisted, we found no great difficulty in casting aside such feelings. Yeah, because they're not ours, yes? I'm not an obstinate person. Yeah, I'm not. Do I get obstinate at times? Obstinate at times comes. But that doesn't mean it's me, because most of the time I'm not obstinate. Yeah. Yeah. Faced with alcoholic destruction, we soon became as open-minded on spiritual matters as we had tried to be on other questions. I don't agree with that. I think on spiritual matters, it can stay shut down pretty much. Yeah. I mean, any spiritual matter that's not like how you think spirituality is, like going to a church or something like that. I guess maybe you become open to that, but other levels, there's still a deep resistance to hear. Yeah. All right. Faced with alcoholic destruction, we soon became as open minded on spiritual matters as we had tried to be on other questions. In this respect, alcohol was a great persuader. It finally beat us into a state of reasonableness. Sometimes this was a tedious process. We hope no one else will be prejudiced for as long as some of us were. Uh, if you're right at the precipice of the solution, and you're being held back, it's by the problem. Yes? If the solution is readily available there, and there's a reluctance to go there when it's completely needed, that is the problem. That is the problem's reaction to the solution. To have pre-ideas, to have contempt, all because it has you and it wants to hold you, it wants you, it needs you. You are more essential to the parasite than the parasite will ever be to us. Yes? Because we have a life free from the parasite. It does not. It has to have a host to have a life. Yeah? And yet this parasite, it's not a thing, I'm just using it as an imagery, but this, let's say, movement has an incredible strategy. It will talk about itself all day and have the host believe it's talking about the host. Isn't it insane? Yeah. I'm in fear all day. You're not in fear all day. The headmate isn't probably in fear all day. Yeah. Yeah. So it describes its condition a lot. Yeah. We have its descriptions. It's not much, but it's all that it thinks about. That's a description coming from it, literally. Yeah. So I know I'm not much, but I'm going to be all that I'm thinking about. Oh, there you go. Yeah. But the assumption is so stubborn. As soon as it talks about its view, we call it our view. This is the bondage of self. This is listening to that which has defeated us, its narrative through our life, and claiming it to be our narrative. Something has to be done, eh? We need to, I hope, I don't know, nothing has to be done literally, but let's get dramatic. Something has to be done. And hopefully some light gets shined on this. Yeah. Do you really want to be at any minute when it goes back to your 40-year-old trespass you did while under the influence? Yeah. Are you willing constantly to keep tithing that moment of your day 40 years later to that fucking God? Wouldn't you like to change in the spiritless servility to this sense of gratitude and awe and purpose that the infinite, the higher power gives us? No matter how far we've gone, we'll find that everything that happened to us will be put to good use in working with others. Yes? Has the self ever resurrected something, or has the self ever made anything really better? No. No. Mm. So, yeah, very incredible reading, I feel. Yeah. So when they describe our reluctance, I don't believe it's our reluctance. I don't. I believe something in me, without me knowing it, protests, how the protests. Yeah. It protests and it does things that are beneficial for its survival at the expense of my living. Yeah. Shit, yeah. What is one of the conditions you woke up with when you came in AA? The inability to have a viable relationship with another person. You did not have that when you were 2 or 3 years old and hugging everyone that you saw. Yeah. Or looking at your mother's eyes, or to me, it was my grandmother. She was like a goddess to me. Love was streaming forth without any interruption. I loved the dog I had. I loved it so much I drove it crazy, the poor German Shepherd. Yeah. What happened to that and turned into an inability to have a viable relationship with another thing? That was a parasite. That's an effect of the parasitical takeover, the obsession with self, which is the real addiction, the mental addiction. Yeah. I drank to get relief from that. And then look at what happened. It compounded the problem, even worse. And every one of its solutions actually reinforced it more. Who would have thunk? Because I believed they were my solutions and they were failing, but it was actually its solutions. Yeah. Its solutions to the problem reinforced the problem. I see it now a lot when I speak to spiritual groups, other groups. Wow. The head's having a field day in spirituality, flamboyantly, just just undisguising the addictive nature of going to the 12th yoga class today or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever, measuring your bicep every 5 minutes to see if the workout's working. It's insane. I remember I had this lady. I felt so much for her, really. She was in a room, sort of locked up, and you could hear her kids just wanting to see her. And she'd been watching spiritual videos for 13 hours straight, trying to get it. And I said, lady, the kids are asking for breakfast. Go out, feed your kids. She told me she had spent like $400,000 trying to get a message. Jesus Christ. You're never gonna get the message. That's the message. Spend the money on your kids, maybe. So yeah. All right, thank you so much. So happy to be here. Uh, you know, the only problem with recovery is we're in it. Yeah, people. I mean, what a beautiful, it's not even, it's truly like a seed because it grows. And like, remember that, the whole of the oak tree is in the seed, in the acorn. But in fact, that's an apt description of recovery. Yeah. You get the seed, maybe meet it with a little willingness, and then this whole oak tree grows out of it for the rest of your life. Yeah. Cast in a lot of shade and a lot of stuff. Yeah. Incredible. Who would have thought? Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to open it up?
Well, thank you, Paul.
You're
Does
welcome, Bob. Thank
anybody have
you.
any
Great
questions?
reading. Great
I,
reading.
am sorry. Thank you.
Great reading.
I see Drew. Drew, come on,
Kurt.
come in, please.
You know what? First, one of these days, we're going to do the whole, maybe for 1 week, we're going to do uh, for agnostics. Just go over the whole thing because there's a lot of nuggets in there. Yeah. Very good. All right. Kurt?
Hey,
Drew,
Paul.
yeah.
Wondered if you could say something about
Oh, Drew.
fear and anxiety.
Say what?
If you could say something about fear and anxiety.
Yes. Well, fear is rooted in self-reliance. Yeah. So the answer in AA would be, why are you in so much fear today, Drew, as you just asked? Isn't it because self-reliance has failed you? So this is the answer from the AA view. Yeah. So AA sees fear as an effect, not a cause. And what's causing the fear is an over reliance on something that's not reliable. Yes, which is this idea of self. It's not just an identity. It's your GPS. You're listening to it and everything. It's playing a big role, and that role causes a lot of fear, which is really triggered by mental anxiety. So there's great faith, as it says in what we usually read from we agnostics. We've had, let me read it so you can hear it from this book. Yeah. So remember, we're talking about fear and anxiety. Okay. Without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood, let's say fear and anxiety. Yeah. So without knowing it, had we not been brought to fear and anxiety by a certain kind of faith, yeah. So AA would say that faith was in the finite self. So the faith in the finite self brought us to this condition of fear and anxiety. Okay, then he goes, for did we not believe in our own reasoning? Yeah. So if the fear that you're sensing was triggered by mental anxiety, what triggers the fear isn't the mental anxiety, it's the faith in the thoughts of the mental. Yeah. So the faith in the mental anxiety produces the sense of fear. Yes? Because there's no apparent threat. So it has to manufacture it. The built-in manufacturing of fear is when there's an apparent threat. Yes? And something's coming at you super fast, and then you go into fight or flight. What we're calling fear is cooked up through mental anxiety. And how you can get enough heat to cook that up is faith. It's the faith. Yes? The faith is what boils the water of the head. This is, we're just breaking it down. This is how it's seen. So fear and mental anxiety. Fear is a valid emotion, but it can also be triggered if there's great faith in mental anxiety, because it's heavy lifting, because it's not happening. So for you to feel like it's happening, there's got to be a lot of faith involved. Seriously. Yeah, that's the diagnosis. If you want to break things down, you can incrementally see the thing that seems to flash by without us knowing it. You can see it. You can freeze frame it. So everyone launches into fear, but they say, they stop it. They go, isn't it because self-reliance failed you? So they pause your little movement into, let's go into the fear and everything. No, it's self-reliance. And what is self-reliance described at? All right, did we not have confidence in our ability to think? Yeah. Was that but a what was that but a sort of faith? Yes, we had been faithful, abjectly faithful to the God of reason. That's thoughts. How does the God of reason talk to you? Through thoughts. You have been abjectly faithful. Abjectly, one of the definitions from our host here, Kathy, from the dictionary is spiritless servility. Spiritless servility. What is the solution? What's the nature of the solution of AA? It's a spiritual nature. What's the nature of the abject devotion to the God of reason? Is spiritless servility. So you are in a seeming spiritless condition, and you're enslaved to the head. Yes. And it's cooking up mental anxiety by thinking about what's going to be like tomorrow, terrible. What it was once like, it's always going to have to be like that again, terrible. and it just cooks you up. So you're basically getting electrocuted all day to keep you fucking just like zoned out, like a fucking these people that are taking drugs now. I saw them in the city. They're taking postures like a statue. It's amazing. They're frozen in a, like they're hanging. It's just wild. It's amazing what's happening. Well, that's like an outer mimicking of what's going on inside. You're being crippled by the head through mental anxiety. And you still, even then, the diagnosis is incorrect. You're calling it fear. No, the emotion of fear has a valid use. How it's being used by the head is to neutralize you, basically, keep you in line. So you just go down the same path to the same trough and you never find what you're looking for, yet you keep going down the same path and the same trough. Yeah, this is bondage, 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 slavery. Yeah. And then when you don't get refreshed because the well is empty, you rationalize, you start blaming others, and this and that. What if something worked? Would it have to have a lot of rationalization, blame, and there's another one I like. It's like if a furniture store, if the if the picture they took on the ad was exactly how it looked, and when they said they delivered it, they delivered it. Yeah, they wouldn't have to have rationalizations, blame, and excuses. Yeah, because they deliver the goods. The head does not deliver the goods, so you get left with a lot of fucking grievances. You get excuses, blame, yes, and rationalization. It's a sign of a failed system. It's written all over it. Just stop and see. Yeah. The thought system happens now, but its content is yesterday and tomorrow. Isn't that insane? The thoughts do not emphasize now, other than the noticing of the thought in the moment. The content of the thought is about yesterday and tomorrow. It's fucking insane. Yeah, you're relying on something that its content, what's emphasized is yesterday and tomorrow, and you're trying to be here now as that, in not recognizing you can only be here now, and it's not trying to be. It's trying to be somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah. We're going with this saran wrap thing. It's working for me. So if there was six, saran wrap is a transparent thing you wrap food with and stuff. So saran wrap, if it was close to your face, you wouldn't know. You would see through the saran wrap. You would not see the saran wrap. You would not see it. This is the bondage of self. When you hear a description of it and the my is dropped, that saran wrap is seen now. Yes? There's still an act of looking through it, but you realize it's not you in the act of looking through it. So you see the saran wrap and you actually see what you're not. Yeah? Yes. If the saran wrap is right here, you see through the saran wrap. You never see the saran wrap. The effect of seeing through the saran wrap without seeing it as saran wrap is incredible. Yeah. The effect of seeing the saran wrap allows a clearer seeing, let's put it that way. Yes? Yes. So without knowing it is the condition the parasite would like to keep us. Without knowing what's going on, you come up with ideas. It comes up with ideas of how to describe what's going on, and it misleads us all fucking day. Very rarely do we get to the exact nature of the wrong. We don't. Yeah. And now look at what we produce. Sinus problems, Someone sent me these sinus pills. I look at it. Does it take away the sinus problem? No, it masks the symptoms. Sounds like a solution from this fucking world. Yeah. Oh, so I still have the sinus infection, but I don't feel like I have it for a little while. Yet I feel shitty and everything else, the side effects. That's what it said on the box. It admits its inability to be a solution. It will mask the symptoms. This is what most of us are involved with, masking symptoms. Yeah. Because we are being used by the parasite to keep patching up its fucking holy little situation. Yeah. Instead of seeing through it, we go there to repair it. Yes. I don't give a shit about this or that, whatever. I have the right to be fucking lonely and depressed. Don't tread on my freedom. All right, go ahead. Oh yeah, I'm so on it today because it's so simple to start. It's gonna produce a huge crack. If it's not you, you can be free from it. If it's you, you're gonna be free as try to be free as it. If it's not you, you can be free from it. If it is you, quote unquote, you're gonna try to be free as it. That's it. That's how it goes. Yeah. Now you can try to be free as it quite a lot, tons of different ways. To be free from it is a really a common shared sense that's available in recovery. Yeah. You can have day after day that the problem does not exist for you. And truly because the problem does not exist as you. The only way the problem can exist is as you. Yeah, truly. It needs you to believe you're it. Yeah, and then it exists as you. Yeah. I wonder why. I liked when people do bad, people love to watch those things at the Infinite Scroll where people get hurt, falling on the ice or something, and you start laughing. It's a weird thing we have. The person just got crippled, and it's this older lady just went sliding down the hill. It just runs into a tree, goes into a coma. That was funny. It's weird. It's weird. Like we get off on everyone else's demise. That's sort of strange, I feel. Whatever. Yeah. People love when a spiritual seeker gets found out or a teacher. Yeah, they do. Oh, I don't have to listen to that message anymore. He went out with a lady or something. The head's looking for any reason to sort of close the door. Give me a reason. Yeah. There's never been a messenger. There's a message. Yes. Yeah. The hose has never truly been wet. It's the water that has the quality of wetness. The hose doesn't. Yeah. It can conduct the wetness, but it ain't the wetness in a sense. Yeah. So how many times did you have a excuse not to listen to a message because you did an inventory on the messenger? Oh, tons of fucking times. Happens every day. Yeah. We're so afraid of hearing anything. Well, yeah, I humbly believe you're up for grabs. I think a lot of us are in the habit of being grabbed by a higher power, and we're treated quite fucking well. Much different than if you're driven by the lower power. They won't even sell you insurance anymore. They will not, because they know there's going to be catastrophes and calamities. Yeah. So, I have been used, you have been used, we're all used. You'll judge the tree by the fruit, yes? You'll judge the employer by how he treats the employee, or it treats the employee, yes? Yeah. How are you going to be treated with mercy with something that has no mercy? It doesn't understand mercy. Yeah. It's not in its nature spectrum. Parasite. So here we are. Hallelujah, there's a solution. Anyone else, Kathy?
Thanks, Paul. I needed that whack today, so I appreciate it.
I like whacking, so it's I get whacked all the time myself. I just share my whacks to you with you. This was a rude awakening in a lot of ways. You would think vision would be able to see a clear path, but when the vision is co-opted, it becomes almost like a maze. Yeah, you start going and you end up at the same place, and you're wondering why the fuck, what's going on? Yeah, yeah. Hmm. That's why it's not only the message, but the warnings of how the head reacts to the message, because the head reacts to the message viciously in a lot of ways and wants to neuter it. Yes. And that's, see, just like when I got struck sober, I truly believe it would have died on the vine unless I was introduced to AA, which was that night. And the design for living of AA has allowed that miracle to extend for 37 years. In other words, a miracle here needs oxygen. Yeah, it'll die here in this atmosphere. Yeah, so it needs oxygen. There's a giving of that oxygen. Yes, and then that thing can go on and on and on and on and on. So the more important thing than the miracle was really the introduction to recovery, because that was what allowed the miracle to extend in time. Yeah. And so the same thing with sharing this message, we share the warnings of how the head's going to react to the message. Yeah, because a lot of times people would just drop a message and there wouldn't be any yeah, you were on your own of you're going to decipher what's reacting to it, whatever. So we're attempting just to not only have that hearing of the message, but the warnings of how the head reacts to the hearing of the message. Yeah, so you can catch the thief masquerading as the policeman, so to speak. Yeah, yeah. So we're in this together. We sit together. We're being used to produce an atmosphere by this loving presence. Yes, we're all being used. We all have our little roles here, and there's been a cracking of the case and of the exact nature of the wrong, and to follow up on it to see, because it likes to regroup. Yes, it's sort of like when you break a thermometer, the mercury goes and then goes back. Yes, so you have to have an understanding that it's going to go back. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah. All right. Anyone else? No, that's about it.
Don't see any hands.
Well, this has been lovely. Thank you so much. Look at Kathleen. She's got the big tree growing out of her head. That's pretty nice. You see? We'll call it the oak tree. So the seed was planted and she's got a giant tree. On a rainy day, you could see it as an umbrella. Yeah. Pretty cool. All right, well, let's get down to it. Drew, yes. Remember, we're sloppy with the definitions of fear and mental anxiety. And there's a point to that. Yeah. The head has a point to keep that sort of mixed up, because mental anxiety is more of a making of the head, yes, than the emotion of fear. So an emotion of fear is a built-in requisite as an action figure. The head uses it for its own ends with mental anxiety. Yeah, yeah, I feel. So, all right, Kathy L., thank you so much. Very nice meeting. Michael Stacy, as always. Mickey, as always, thank you for that lovely card. It captured the dog. It looked just like Lola. Yeah, and it acted like Lola. Yeah, our dog here. John in Florida, always a pleasure, John. Axel, nice to see you. Terry S. Yeah, Terry, nice to see you, my friend. Rico, as always, thank you, Rico, for the message you sent and everything. Brian C. There you go, Brian. The easiest thing to do is your name, Brian C. Yeah. Brian, another Brian. Nice to see you, Brian, there. Kathleen. Yeah, she's not doing anything, and the tree's growing out of her head. Pretty cool. Miak, as always. Alex. Annette in New York. Nice to see you. We'll be in New York in a while. We're going to have a talk in New York City, too, on this trip. It's going to be on a Tuesday night. I think the 23rd or something. It'll be posted, but we're just setting it up. Yes. We're going to do a Tuesday night near Penn Station. Joseph C., as always. Rick Rowe. Vlad, my main man. Nice to see you, Vlad. Roman, my second main man. Yeah. Virginia. We got John K. Gabe Campbell, he's a wandering man. He's roaming around. Oliver in Berlin. Miss Folkman, nice to see you. Martin, he's the captain of the SS Zenbitzler. Yeah. He's leisurely, it's for a leisurely job. He just kicks back most of the time. Yeah. Just turns every once in a while. Not hard. Let's see. I think I can't go to the other page, but hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. This is really the donation that we all give each other. Having this little oasis, if you see it that way, I do, and just sit underneath a familiar tree and just chill. Yeah, let it wash over you. It's a good circulation. Yes, and yeah. If you can't get rid of the door, it's nice to have it open so the air circulates. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thanks. We'll see you, what's today? Tuesday. We'll be here at 4:30 Pacific time, even with a more limitless emptiness to go as wherever we go. Yes. Wow. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Woohoo is pretty good. Yeah. All right. I see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.